Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the podcast. Streaks and Geeks here. Adrian Avila here.
Aaron.
Nice, yeah.
All stupid. Aaron. It's all plain. I need to change my name. That's what it is.
So today in this video, we're going to be talking pretty much a span of kind of like, the evolution of video games and pretty much all the era of different video games and different phases with our video games that we grew up as young kids, teenagers, and even into now as somewhat as adults now. And
young adults.
I have some stories that I'll get into, I'm sure, with my earlier days of playing video games, some crazy ones. But what are your first early memories of playing video games as a kid? What was your first console, and what was your first impression of playing video games?
First console was the N64.
Okay.
That was the first one we had, and it was my oldest sister's. It was Stephanie's.
Oh, okay.
Because she got all the early consoles like N64 and PlayStation 1. She got those, my parents got those for her. And obviously because we're siblings, we're going to play them too. So I remember playing the, GoldenEye on N64? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was me growing up. FPS, first person shooters, is my favorite thing. So that was one of my favorites to play, was the GoldenEye. And I remember we could make the guns gold, and then we could make their heads fucking huge.
I don't even remember that. I don't remember that part, but
you could make the heads of the characters fucking huge.
Wow.
And so you'd have this small body and this huge ass head.
Oh wow, that's
and
funny.
And you'd just go around, obviously, and then just shooting people. So
wow,
that was probably the early first N64 playing the GoldenEye there. And then I was still kind of young, so I really didn't know what I was doing or stuff, but
right
once I started to know what I was doing was when the PlayStation 1, and then I was playing this game called Vigilante 8. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or seen anything like it.
I'll have to look it up, but I'll check it out.
But it's pretty much a car game, and you go around, and it's like a battle royale. So you're going around in your car, and you can run over these attachments, and it's different weapons. So when you run them over, they attach to your car, and then you just try and blow up all the other cars.
Okay.
It's kind of like Twisted Metal.
I do remember that one.
Yeah, it's basically like that.
Interesting.
But to me, I liked Vigilante 8 way cooler. So it was always cool. Different maps and stuff. You're just going around. Each character had a special power.
Yeah.
So someone had lightning, someone had a machine gun, someone had there's this dude who's called Big Wave, and he had a big sound system in his car.
Oh, okay.
So his special power was when you get to that power, he says Big Wave, and everything just starts to go like an earthquake around him.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Nice. I gotta check that out.
What about you? What's their first console or first early memories of gaming there?
Well, before I'll just lead up real quick. Before video games, my first impression of just games in general were actually board games.
Board games, yeah.
Which were Chutes and Ladders, and Monopoly, and then
Monopoly.
I actually play marbles. We had a collection of marbles, and then we had a Hot Wheel collection where we would do these duels where we would go 1, 2, 3, and then whoever's car was flipped over won that car. Yeah, that was my first early stage of just little board games. First, the first introduction of games for me was probably at age 6, and it was the Nintendo, the 2-button console, beep boop beep, and playing Super Mario Brothers, the 2D version. That was the first game I ever played. Ninja Gaiden, Punch Out, later on and getting into the Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong Country, Star Fox, all those other classic Nintendo games, and then and then making our way into the Nintendo 64, and then playing games like Super Smash Bros, GoldenEye, like you said, another Star Fox, Donkey Kong Country again, all these classic games.
I wonder how much those consoles were.
They were pretty expensive. I just looked it up the other day.
I've always wondered that, how much they were.
The video games themselves. Then let's just talk about N64.
Yeah,
because I would say that was the mid for us. Because I remember going to Blockbuster still and renting video games off the rack. The games were as much as how much the Switch games are today. They're $60 to buy.
Yeah.
That was back then in like 1997, 98, 99, even in the early 2000s. And dude, like, I can't believe like the console itself, was like about like a $400 console.
Damn, that's
it was like almost $400 or $500.
PlayStation 5, no?
Yeah.
PS5 is like 400, 500 now.
Back then, I mean, for the price, and I feel like Nintendo hasn't really changed with that. Nintendo, the PlayStation, I don't remember how much that one was.
Nah, I'd have to look it up.
That one was.
I remember PlayStation 2. Yeah, and that was like $250 around because they had the big version.
Oh, okay.
And then they came out with the slim version,
the thin, right?
The thin one, and I had both.
Okay.
I had the big one, and then that one I like just got old, and then I had the slim one.
How many PlayStation 2s have you gone through in your lifetime?
PlayStation 2s?
Yeah,
I went through 2.
I went through
no 3 because I had the big one, and then I had the thin one, the black one, and then they came out with like a silver edition.
Dude, we had the exact big one first. I had a black one,
the thin,
broke it. I had a silver one, broke it again.
Oh my gosh!
I have some,
I don't think I broke the slim ones, but the big one, something like, you know, when you'd put the disc in and then you'd be like praying that it read the game.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't. So then my dad had to open it up.
Oh, okay.
And he did something with it, and it started to work for a bit.
Oh, okay.
But I don't even remember what happened. But Erica was using the controller, and she like whipped it, and like it detached like apart and broke it. And I was like, "Fuck!" Like it was already on its last life. And then she didn't know because like, you know, she didn't play it as much as we did. But
what is this?
She like just grabbed it on accident too far, and it just like pulled the controller because you know I had to plug them in. Attach like a part to it. So I was like,
"Oh man!"
So then that's when I had to get the slim one, which was already out, which I took really good care of. But then the silver one came out, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, a silver edition!"
I remember that.
So we just had to get that one.
I have some crazy stories with the PlayStation 2 because PlayStation 2 again, like I went through my N64 days and went through that phase of Super Smash Bros. Right off the bat. That was a big game that was just
still
big.
It's
still big.
It is. It's crazy.
And playing it with my brothers. Oh my god, dude! Talk about the most competitive game ever. Like Andres was Link, Art was Star Fox, and I was Captain Falcon. And like, dude, like when we'd play that game, dude, it got real so quick. And we would do like stock lives, like, you know, we'd go up to like 10 lives or whatever. Dude, Art, man, my younger brother, he was I was most competitive with him, you know, because we're a year apart. And so like anytime like I would lose, dude, I would freak the F out. Like I would get up and literally start punching him because he would beat the shit out of me. And his reaction was this. He would be winning, and like I'm like on my last live and he still has like 4 lives, and he would go, He would do that. Dude, I would get up and start just like punches were getting thrown, and then
chairs thrown.
Yes, dude, like I would
thrown.
And then my older brother, his thing was he used to pull our hair.
Nah, you pull your hair?
Sometimes he would do that. And I go, "Hey man, stop your shit, man." Damn. He would just go like that. You go, "Come on, you're trying to do it right," and then
do it right. It's a game,
dude. There were times where we would get in like fist fights. I remember one time Andres and Art got in a fight. I just see Art like roundhouse kicking Andres one time.
Dude, Art always had the kicks. I just see legs with him.
Kicks and elbows were his thing. He would just go like that.
His sound effects.
And then, I was
with brothers,
very competitive with Art and everything in general, with racquetball and sports and just running anything and running. Dude, like if we would fight each other, dude, I'm like throwing a hanger, a shoe at him, maybe a DVD that wasn't good. I just
a gallon.
Anything to hit the bastard.
To hit
anything to hit the bastard. But the PS2 in general, I think that was the era that I feel like when I was a teenager, those are the days I remember playing so much. I was like heavily that was the phase of I was staying up till 3 in the morning
all night.
I would get up even at 5 in the morning before school to play.
Yep.
That's how invested I was in playing video games.
That's crazy.
Like, how many nights would you do that with? Like,
I mean,
like when did that start for you?
for me, that started on the PlayStation 3.
Oh, okay.
When I got Call of Duty, my dad bought it for me randomly. Like, I didn't ask for it. I had a PlayStation 3. I always played like Madden, FIFA, like sport games, because I was huge into sports. And then he bought me Call of Duty World at War, and that game just turned my life around because, dude, I was fucking good.
Nice.
I was a menace at that game, and that's when I got introduced to online play.
Okay,
so I play against other people around like the world.
Okay.
And it got
real.
Yeah, I started to be really good, and then people would start inviting me.
Yeah.
Into like playing with them. They're like, yo, that guy's good. Let's like invite him.
That's cool.
And that's how I met like a friend group of mine. I met them by I was playing against them, and I was like kind of like whooping their ass. they would get me, but like Call of Duty is a shooter game, so it's teams, right? It's like 6-on-6 or something like that. So
right,
dude, like I was like holding my own against them, and it was a whole group.
Really?
And when we were in the lobby, they started talking to me like, and again, I'm like 12 years old, so I like don't know.
Wow.
These guys were probably like early 20s at the time, and they're like, "Yo, who's this fucker right here? Like, why is he?" And so they invited me, and then I started playing with them.
That's so
and then
cool.
we all got pretty close, where we would just be playing every weekend and stuff.
Wow,
dude, like we ran that shit, like Call of Duty World at War.
So that was like your first game you thought you were actually like progressing. Yeah.
Invested.
That's cool.
And
I
was getting really good. No one could really beat me at that game.
Okay, yeah.
And I played with like some of the best players like in the world.
Nice.
And it was so cool. Staying up to like 6 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Playing, and like we're all in different time zones. Like some of them were from like East Coast. We had a few of them in the West Coast. So, like, time differences and stuff, but we always stay up playing super late. But like it's fun when you're good, because like it makes you feel good, you know? It's like,
that's so true.
Damn, I'm good. Like
when you work hard at a video game, it's a good feeling. It honestly is. Yeah.
And especially when you're that young, your reaction time, you're just so like your reflexes are just so much higher than they are like to now, you know.
Right.
But yeah, that game really took off, and then after World at War came Black Ops 1, and then we all transitioned to that one. So we started playing, and we were still like really good at it. It was still the best. And then Black Ops 2 came out. That's when I started fading out because, well, one, high school demands school and then band, so I really didn't have any time to play as much. But.
So when did you stop? It was like right when you were a freshman in high school, or like slowly in between?
It was like probably like sophomore year, because freshman I was still like
same. I was still playing games.
I was still playing like, even when we'd come home for like break and stuff, I'd come play.
Yeah.
Because I had time, and then weekends, we didn't have any school or anything on the weekends, so.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
It was a good, like, I'm going to say like 4-year gap where I was just nonstop, just playing. Like my mom would hide the game from me. They'd hide the console. My sisters would take the controllers. I'd come home from school, no controllers, dude.
So what was going on in your mind during that time when they would hide your console?
I'd get so upset. I'd cry because they were like, that was my life.
Yeah.
Besides,
other things,
friends, but like when I'd come home, like that's where I made peace. Did they ever do that to you?
Well, like even worse. I'm telling you, that's why I went through 3 PS2s in my lifetime. I still have the thick one, the thick PS2,
the first edition. Yeah.
My older brother gave me that one. I still have it. It's in the box. I still have all my consoles: Super Nintendo. I have Super Nintendo, PS2, PS3, and then a PS4. Those are the ones I have. The only console I've never played is Xbox. That I cannot say. I never played. I used to watch people play Xbox.
Yeah, friends had them, but I was like, no, I like PlayStation.
Like Halo was the phase for Xbox, but I never played I was still into PlayStation 2 and PS3 and PS4, etc. But
same.
My mom, dude, there were so many times because my brothers and I were fighting over the games. Yeah, I'd come home and like where's my console? Where did you put it? And I'm like, I'm freaking out, man. Me and Art too are like looking, we're scattering the house, like under the kitchen.
Like national treasure.
Yeah, like
shit.
under the tiles. Like we're trying to like check everything. Yeah,
tiles.
like she probably like taped it underneath the sink where the plumbing's at. Like literally, we were scattering that whole house.
Clever, man.
And there were times where, and then like the next day we found it and we're just playing. And then she goes, "What are you doing? I hid that on purpose. Why are you guys taking it out? I don't want you playing it anymore." And then sure enough, me and Art playing and then arguing. And one time she got the thin PS2, the thin one, the silver one. She picked it up in front of me and she threw it on the ground. And it was like the worst. It was the worst. Like,
did it break and just like
it broke completely? Pieces. Like we couldn't even react though. Like I was so upset, but like I looked at it like I couldn't even react. Like I was just like,
the moment was just so big.
I'm just still like processing that she picked it up and threw it in front of us.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And then the black one, I had the thin black one, and that one I remember, someone like, I think it was me or Art, we nudged it too quickly.
They're delicate too.
Yes.
That's why they're very delicate.
And the reader for the CD stopped working. And so I was like, damn it.
That's right, because you put it in and it starts spinning.
Yeah.
And then like if it didn't spin or something, it's wrapped.
I would play games like Tekken because I was very competitive with that game. Back in the day, I would play it even in the arcade with people.
The
like
older guys,
12 years old. Yeah, I would play it with like older guys, and sometimes they would get upset because I beat them and they'd be,
can't do that.
You know, but yeah. But dude, there were so many times where like, dude, we were like, and then like punching walls. How many walls have I punched or you've punched in your lifetime?
I punched one wall.
I think I punched one wall. I didn't punch multiple walls. Maybe like multiple times the same
controllers. I think I went through more controllers than like actual consoles.
Oh, okay.
Like my consoles broke because of accidental. I'd either like squeeze them like this when I'd get mad, so it would bend and the insides would just like, fall apart, and you'd rattle it and you'd hear it shake. So you're like, fuck, like it's tough. Or I'd literally just like fucking launch it at something. Wow. Controllers I went through, but those were cheaper, I would say. You know, like to get, they were like maybe like $30,
right,
$40,
right,
for PlayStation 2 controllers. So I went through a lot of those.
Well, the games, I was very competitive were the fighting games. That was my thing. The Mortal Kombat, I went through a whole Mortal Kombat phase. Still like play Mortal Kombat, but fighting games were like my thing. And then like I wasn't so good at the shooting games. I was okay in the racing games like Mario Kart maybe, and like Burnout. I liked that game. Burnout, maybe Need for Speed. Need for Speed.
Need for Speed. I had a Need for Speed Undercover, I think.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Those are the days though, man. Just talk about anger management. Like,
it was bad.
Like in reality though, us as kids growing up during that time, playing video games, being in your house, we were in our house all the time. We weren't out like doing drugs, or we weren't out like, we could have done other stuff. I'm sure we could have like been out socializing like everybody else.
Compared to like things that you could be doing.
Exactly,
Video games is like nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's literally one of the safest things you can do as far as physically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you could still be going to play football with people or at a park and get hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could like break a finger, But video games, you're literally inside your house, like you said, minding your own business. Yeah, it gets competitive. Yeah, you might let out some yells at times, but it's like, it's just your own world. It still is, for a lot of people. For me, I still feel that way.
So how do you see video games now? Like, what's your impression of it now?
Man,
like
now it's so different. I would say I think because of the times that we're in and like how we've talked about technology and the advancements of it. Like back then, streaming wasn't a thing. Like everyone would just play games. That's it. That was the highest point you can get, was just to play.
Right.
And then obviously like once like people started doing like streaming, or people started doing like tournaments and stuff, like it just has evolutionized so much that it's just so many things like compared to it was back then. I think my peak in playing games is when I was younger, but that's because I had nothing else to do. But the state where we're in now, I feel like I like it a little more just because of the technology I have.
And you play what is it, PPC, right? Like
I have PCs, and like that's the thing, like
you're set up now, and
everyone like has, not everyone, but a lot of people like dedicate their gaming setup, you know, because it's cool. It's something you can work on. It's like the equivalent to when you were younger playing on a console.
Yeah.
Like you have like your TV, and back then it was TVs you would play on.
That's so
not
true.
Even gaming monitors,
the cubicle TVs.
Exactly. It was like TVs you plug it into with like the
red, white, and yellow input cords, not HDMI.
Yep. And that's like another thing, like it was so easy back then to like, if I'm going over your house and I'm going to take my PlayStation, I just wrap it up, power cable, those components, boom, that's it. Controllers, and we're good.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I can't do, well, one, I don't have a console. I have PC, so it's not like I can fucking just pick up that big ass thing and like take it to your, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Now you're able to like work on your setups and stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to. If you like,
for like the serious game. Yeah.
If you want to like have your space and just a place where you can sit and just play games and kind of, you know, just be distracted.
Do you ever miss the console? Do you ever miss the button? Is it easier? Or how do you feel like the difference with console versus PC? Like as far as like the tech of it, like the
I mean, like me and you, we grew up with actual consoles, so like I was always used to a controller.
The buttons.
I always needed a controller in my hand. That's how you play games, or at least I thought.
Right.
That's how it should be, right?
Right.
So it took me a while, because even when I got a PC, I would hook up my controller to play Fortnite. So I'd have a PC, but I played on controller.
Yeah.
So that's how I started still playing, and then I was like, you know what? Like I want to get better.
Yeah.
And in Fortnite, people who were better were the people who played on a keyboard and a mouse.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to get like that. So I was like, I have to ditch the controller, learn how to play keyboard and mouse, which I did.
It's almost like you go from controller to, like, the controller is basically going from manual. Like that's the way I see PC. It's like manual. Yeah, kind of in a way. It's weird. Yeah, it's like a weird way of putting it.
Touch of your fingers, like literally. This is your buttons right here.
That's like you're like a piano player or something.
Basically,
you're having to use
on the mouse, and you have like different keybinds set to different things.
Right.
And then this one, you kind of just it's kind of like you're just typing.
The biggest shooting games I remember playing were like GoldenEye. Remember Nightfire, PS2. Remember that one?
Nightfire? No, I don't remember.
I think, or was it the other one? Tomorrow Never Dies. I think it's one of those. Yeah, 007 game, and then
Everything or Nothing. I had that one.
That's the one. Yes, and then Time Crisis. Remember that?
Time Crisis. Yeah.
Those were the fun games, dude. Peter Piper rocking. Just two controllers. Dual wield.
Dual wield it.
Just grenade. Those are fun games.
Back then, it wasn't about how good you were at a game, but it was more of how many games you had.
True.
You remember that? Like you'd be with your friend groups in school, and like you didn't know how good each other were
until you saw
but like everyone tried to top each other with having more games than you.
Yeah.
You know? Like I remember I had this dude, 6th grade, and he would always talk about all the games he had, and I had maybe like on PlayStation 2 like 20, 30 games between there.
Right.
25 to 30, I would say.
Wow, yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a lot of games. But then this dude rolls in and he's like, oh yeah, I have like 100. And he had older brothers too, so they always like bought different shit. I was like,
I had to buy the game like 3 times each.
Like his like way he gloated was about how many games he had. He was probably not even good.
Oh, okay,
but like everyone liked him because of how many games he had.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you know that guy and you go over to his house, he has all these games, and you're like, oh my god, that's so cool. But like, I'm just like,
I remember that. Yeah, a couple of times going to a friend's house, and you're like, you're looking at how many. Yeah, like you're judging them based. It's kind of like your identity. It's like
collections,
collection. Same thing with movies.
Right.
I would judge them based on their movie collection, game collection, board game collection, whatever, and that is like that's in your DNA.
It gives me tells you like who you are. This person. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I like about it. Oh yeah. Like my older brother, I never started playing the PS2 yet. When it first came out, and there were times where when he first started playing the PS2, because my mother got him the PS2. It wasn't necessarily for me and Art, but that was his gift for himself. And there were so many times where, we'd knock on his door and be like, hey, Andres, can you let us in? We want to play. And he would close the door. He wouldn't even let us in because he was still going through his game phase. Like, and he didn't want no one bothering him. And he was smart though, because he would lock his door. We'd get up at like 7 o'clock, me and Art. We'd be knocking on his door. Hey, Andres, let us in. Are we going to play Ninja Turtles or whatever, And he wouldn't let us in, because he was already so invested with he
was already doing his own thing.
He was already share. Yeah, he was like
rightfully
playing.
So, like it was hard back then too, especially sharing. Sharing was like probably one of the hardest things in gaming, because like you said, he got the PS2, so it's like his. Yeah. Obviously, you guys are gonna play it too, but like when you find something that you like so much, you don't want to let any other people. And
exactly.
Because like you don't want to share, but. Right. You're just so invested, you just don't want to give up that time,
Yeah, and I think the games too, because we had to you had to buy multiple games sometimes because we were grabbing them wrong, grabbing them like hamburgers, tossing them like frisbees, when they would get
scratch the bottom.
Oh, you know what? Just reminds me, the one game that I know that you and I both have played in this past, we always talk about it, is Revenge of the Sith, PS2. That game, dude, was on a loop for me, man. And
that was fun.
The movie in the game.
I think it was because of the time. Like Star Wars was probably at its peak when those movies came out and stuff. So
playing Battlefront, remember the first
when you had movies coming out out, and then you had the games too. It just elevated everything.
Spider-Man 2,
because you're in that world. Like you're literally living in the world. And you're like, oh my god, this is so cool.
Yeah,
I had a couple older cousins who had Revenge of the Sith, and we'd go over to their house to eat sometimes. And they wouldn't let me play because they were so invested. Kind of like how your brother was. They'd be playing Revenge. They were huge Star Wars fans. They still are.
Okay, yeah.
But I'd go over and I'm this kid, and I just want to play. They wouldn't let me. They would not let me. And I'd get mad and I'd tell my mom. They would be like, "Oh, Aaron just wants to play," but they still wouldn't. Wouldn't budge. But I can only imagine how they were feeling.
Yeah.
So I understand it now, because my nephew Kona, anytime he comes here, or even when he was here, he always Aaron, can I play Fortnite? Can I play? I'm like, no, can I play Fortnite? I want to play, goddammit. I'm still playing. But as the older I've gotten, he'll come when they come visit and stuff, and I'll go ahead, let him play. I feel like having our parents how they were, your mom smashed your PS2 in front of you. My parents literally hid every single, and my sisters, god damn it, took everything. They would just rob me when I was at school. But it kind of makes me feel for the young, my nephew,
right.
I don't want to do that to him.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, you don't want him playing too long and being little shits about it. There's a gray area where it's I want to allow them to play. Yeah. There's a they don't want to
overdo it.
Exactly.
And I think for me, because I was always playing with my brothers and we were always fighting. That's why my mom picked it up and threw it, because
it's exactly why. Yeah.
And it goes back to our childhood, because those decades of playing. Yeah, like we say, we were indoors all the time, just playing games and not really out. Maybe I do remember being outside, playing sports and stuff like that in school. Not completely antisocial, but I think just playing games in general, our generation, the millennials, that we, our phases of playing games is just, I don't play games as much as now. I have a Switch, but it doesn't feel the same to me, and I lose my attention. I can only play maybe an hour, maybe even 30 minutes, and then I lose interest.
Really?
I'm I can't stay here, because dude, I would go 10 hours, 12 hours when
the moment you woke up to the moment you went to sleep.
Exactly.
That was it. Breaks to maybe go to the bathroom to eat, and that was it.
Sometimes even eating while playing. I would try to eat. Trying to play, at the same time.
Grease on the controller, just wipe it off.
Just
pizza.
It's always pizza. Pizza grease.
I said pizza because I was gonna say pizza. I said pizza.
Pizza,
Nah, pizza.
I always just think that because like the TV and the playing games was sort of like our therapy. It was like it was always on the TV, watching movies, playing video games. Because I mean, you know, my parents were always out working. They were both working, so they were never home, and so like they always
find something to do. You know?
Yeah, and that was the only thing. There was no Instagram. There was no Facebook. There was none of that.
Take up your time.
Yeah,
even like YouTube. Like it was still no early
YouTube
stages where like there wasn't like stuff to.
You couldn't even listen to music unless you had actual CDs. You know, that was it. You know, that's all we had. That was almost our platform of technology in a way too, because we didn't even have phones yet. You know, and so like the era of us growing up with video games, it really did kind of shape us in a way. Like I don't know what's the word. Like I don't know how to like say it. Like I'm not saying like we relied on video games to make us who we are today. I'm just saying that playing something for so long, we use the same kind of concepts of
that same
being
kind of
on something. Yes, there you go.
To another thing.
That's what I was trying to say.
That's what it is. Yeah. I feel that same
being
way.
invested for such a long time.
Like as much as we played games and people thought, oh, well, they're not learning anything. Like they teach you so much. Like games teach you so much you didn't even realize.
The laws of physics too.
Focus. Right?
Yes,
Focus being one of the main things. Like it's just me and you, and we're gonna do this. That's it. The other thing would be like mechanics, being like
accuracy. There's like so many different things, and when you think of the styles of games,
exactly.
Car games, what does it focus on?
Yeah.
How to maneuver, how to stay in your lane, how to like, you know,
just like basic things of how to drive.
Yeah.
Without you even knowing that you're gonna do that.
Yes.
Like, you know, like story mode games, being able to like just learn different things, being able to go through a story.
Yeah.
Like you learn things, unlock clues, you know, kind of
mysteries.
Critical thinking.
Yes.
Like you have to critical think in games like that.
Right. Analyze.
Exactly. So
for sure.
There's a lot of things that games teach you that you don't even think of, especially back then. People just thought, oh, you're wasting your time doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like now, like it taught us a lot. It taught us a lot.
That's what I mean. All those games playing now or back then, it really gave us a lot of like now patience. Now when you look at the bigger picture now, like when I look at games now, like I'm just like, dude, I had to play Super Mario and the Donkey Kong. You try to play Donkey Kong Country, the laws of physics in those games, you have to, it's all about timing from going from point A to point B, and if you don't do it right, you have to start all over. You don't have,
you got to be so precise in
you know,
like it's and it's like a muscle memory too, just knowing like when you have to like start over, you're like, okay, like now I know what to do, and
you learned your
your games are fucking awesome. Stupid.
I
hate that I played.
What's one game you remember that was always on a loop for you? Any game from any console?
Any game, any console. I'd probably say, because me and my sisters grew up playing this, Crash Bandicoot. Crash was like the one of the fun. Obviously, it was only a single player. So you just have to go through the map, but we'd always take turns. But that's a game I remember because we all got to enjoy it.
That's cool.
We would, because it wasn't as like competitive.
Right.
Which I liked, because me, like, forget it. But it was like I was rooting for my sisters to do well in the game. It was one of those games where you like, when it wasn't your turn, you want them to pass the level.
Oh, okay, I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
You're like rooting for them to like, make it past like the polar bears, the snowball that's rolling
or
down,
the jump or some sort.
Exactly. Like if you couldn't do it, one of them
someone else has to
pass it. Exactly. So Crash Bandicoot was always something we played growing up, and especially with them, that was like pretty fun. A lot of hours spent.
You just reminded me of one little thing where one story where we played the Spider-Man 64 one, and it's like at the very end of the level where Spider-Man is running from like Dr. Octopus / like a symbiote, and my older brother, we all were taking turns, me, Art, and Ness, we all were just trying to beat this stage, and we kept getting, the guy kept coming behind us and like grabbing us, and then we're dead. And my stupid my older brother Andres, he just was like, he kept going, come on, he tried to beat it, he kept going, come on, like kept acting like an idiot. He he was just like going nuts. He kept going, my life, and this and that.
God.
Like he was like, Adrian, you need to beat it, or Art, you need to. So we were just trying to get it.
Cool moments, right? Where you're all like, you all had the same goal, you know? It wasn't like me versus you. It's like, no, we got to beat this right now.
Yes.
All of us together.
All that matters right now.
Exactly. Nothing else matters. I don't need to eat. I'm going to starve. No water. I don't care if the dogs eat.
Oh my God.
Right now, we're beating the game.
Yes.
No matter how long it takes.
Honestly, that was the goal back then playing video games. It was, you had to beat it because it was your life.
Yeah, yeah. Like
your life.
The game's not better than you.
Your life was on the line. Yeah, the game's not better.
The game's not better than me.
I would say that.
We're better than the game.
You think you're better than me?
You think you're better than me?
You think you're better than me?
Yep. Stupid little CD.
Oh man, dude, I'm telling you, man. I don't know how many times I would just chuck it. We would just chuck the CD if it like we couldn't beat it. I just fun, stupid.
Easy, right?
Yeah.
You don't get rid of it.
Those are fun times.
Definitely, yeah. A lot of memories, a lot of hours spent, I'm sure, between both of us.
Yeah.
Now I still play. Game I play is Fortnite all the time. Like, literally, I play it probably every other day, if not every day. But even then, like you were saying, it's hard to play for a long period of time. Like back then, 8, 10-hour days, 12-hour days. And now I'm like, not 30 minutes, but I can do like a good 2-hour session, and I'm like, fine. I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Like I filled the need. And I still play. Like, dude, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good at Fortnite.
I'm good at like the fighting games. That's my thing. Fighting games, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Super Smash Bros. That's my jam. But anything else, I suck.
Anything else,
I suck. Yeah. Well, and story mode games, I'll play like Tomb Raider.
Those are cool.
You know, any story mode game that I'm there. But other than that, that's about it. But
those are the days of gaming. I think we could go on for hours about this, but that's kind of like wrapped up from when we were younger to now. So
now.
It's still cool that we have it in our lives and that we still do it occasionally.
And the lesson learned from playing games is we are much more patient now, much more conservative now.
Very much.
No.
Our tempers aren't as high as they are.
Yeah, we understand blood pressure. IV is not on standby.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I'll still get tilted and stuff, but like, it takes a while now.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I know better to not like break my shit because that shit's expensive. Like, who's buying me that?
Oh,
Nobody.
exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Back then, our parents were the ones buying it for us. But
exactly. So like, you'd be like, I can
break
throw
that
a
now.
It's $40. Yeah.
No, sir.
Now I got to go to work and buy this. You know?
No, sir.
No, sir. Cool. I like that.
Awesome. Alrighty, guys. Well, that wraps it up. We will see you guys next episode. Peace out.